came through yesterday.
Yes, those are the only additions.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Do we have any public comment this morning?
No, Mike, we don't.
All right. Chair's report is that it did snow last night. That's it. Jason, you made it.
We're here, Mike.
Yep, I thought you might be late, but go ahead.
We're here. Had a good conversation. Did our weekly update with the elected officials throughout the county this morning. We've been back to every Thursday, so it went well. I don't have anything new to report other than obviously Jeff's dealing with the snow issue. Sheriff issued a travel advisory earlier this morning, not restricting travel, just encouraging folks to use caution. And I imagine once probably the snow lifts and by mid-afternoon we'll lift the advisory. Other than that, I don't have anything new to update unless there's any specific questions.
Anything for Jason? Okay, that was short and sweet. Let's go to Barbara Ekstrom, Department of Recycling and Materials Management.
Morning, everybody. So you all had a detailed review of what the Recycling and Solid Waste Center new contract is going to contain at the last meeting and the cost. This is just a formal procedure to accept the contract. The resolution is not too different than the last time we did it. Jonathan and I took a look at that and made adjustments, and it's in front of you today for consideration.
Well, shall we get it on the table? Someone want to move resolution A under Recycling and Materials Management, award of contract for upgrading and operations of the Tompkins County Recycling and Solid Waste Center pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 120-W.
I'll make the motion.
Klein?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dave. Let's ask for discussion. Or have we heard enough presentations that we're pretty comfortable with this? As comfortable as we can be with the price increase. John, do you have any comments?
No, just that, the last time was 10 years ago, and there's just been a lot of change in the industry and the world, and that accounts for the price increase. And, we expect, fortunately, we'll be able to continue it. And we always had an incredibly low price. And, if you look at it, obviously it's a big increase in the fee for people, but it's still relatively low to what most other people are paying in New York State and the country, and the service they get is better.
Well, of course, we would have liked an incredibly low contract again this time, but apparently didn't get one.
Timing.
Are we ready to vote on this, or do you want any other comments? Ann?
Yes.
Ann, yeah, I didn't see your face, but I see your name. Dave?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We have an information item, your capital payment summary report. Any comments on that, Barbara?
This is just for the consultant, Barton Judas, primarily Scott Nostrand, to be assisting us in the development of this RFP and process. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have some budget adjustments on the bottom.
Well, I can say it's cheap at half the price, right? Any comments on either of these adjustments or transfers? Any of these?
Nope.
Okay, anything else this morning, Barbara?
Nope, I'm gonna get ready to make my way into the office right now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Jonathan and Jason.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
Jason, are you sticking around for us? Thank you.
Yes, I can, I stick around. I don't think my next meeting is until 10, so.
Yeah, I was gonna stick around just to hear Jeff's report and if he had anything to say about the Ludlowville Bridge.
Well, you're more than welcome to stay, everybody. We don't ever throw anybody out, except at executive sessions. So then it's Jeff's turn. Highway Department. Jeff?
Yeah, I have an announcement.
And that is?
The Ludlowville Bridge is open to traffic as of
Yay.
yesterday afternoon.
All right.
And I have a
Woohoo.
there that I brought in for especially for the cookie circuit coming through the garage this afternoon. Yeah, our crews were out throughout the night with snow and ice control. It is tapering like the weather report said. I think we did get a little more than what they had predicted. Some of the outer parts of the county, Caroline, Danby, Newfield, are up in the 2-foot area of snowfall. Right here, I think we got a good solid foot, 12 to 14 inches, I think easy. I'm not sure, haven't heard much about up Groton Way and that way, but it could be a little less, but I think it's anything over 4 to 6 inches is a snowfall and it takes work to address it. But it's the first one and first big one. Hopefully it kind of stays away for the rest of the year. But Jonathan, like you asked, the big thing is the Ludlowville Bridge is open to traffic. We are in the process of putting up some traffic control, traffic calming devices in the area. We had the association request that. We were already working. They are out at a couple of other areas. They're actually at solid waste department right now. They requested to have them in their yard. Periodically, they do that for some speedy drivers, I guess. So we're relocating them and moving them up to Ludlowville. I don't think that the impact of the state bridge will impact the Ludlowville loop as much as it has the Myers Road loop. Unfortunately, Jonathan, I'm sure you don't want to hear that, but it's just a quicker, more direct, kind of right in advance of the closure of the bridge, to take that left and go Myers Road. I'm sure that some folks will take the Ludlowville loop, but I don't see there being too much of an impact. Haven't heard much on detouring traffic lately in that way as far as the public or impact. Jonathan maybe could shed some light on that. But I think like a lot of these projects, when it first happens, it's a real shock to everyone. And then, there's maybe some controls put in place. And I'm sure, I know that there was some work done contacting some of the trucking companies to make sure that their drivers stayed clear and went around and used the longer state detour. So I hopefully that mitigated some of the big truck traffic going through the area. That's all I had on that. If there's any questions, or Jonathan, do you have anything?
No, I mean, honestly, I was out last night and a lot of snow, but I didn't even notice that the Ludlowville Bridge was open. As far as I can tell, the detour signs and stuff haven't changed or anything yet.
Yeah, they will be down. It opened yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So they went through, they get the bridge open and then they start tipping signs down and removing them and that sort of thing.
Right.
So good.
Well, that's all good news, Santa. We appreciate it.
It's kind of warm in here. I'm gonna take the couple of resolutions to enter into agreements. One being Central Chapel Road Bridge over Boise Creek, the town of Caroline. Might as well do them separately if there's any questions for each one.
All right. Let's take resolution A under your department, authorization to execute a supplemental funding agreement with New York State Department of Transportation, Central Chapel Road Bridge over Boyce Creek.
Okay.
I'd like to move that one.
Caroline. Who's moved it? Dave?
Dan, yep.
Oh, Dan, sorry. Is there a second? Seconded by Glenn. Okay, you want to say anything else about it? Do you want us to
The only,
discuss it?
the only thing is I do have a small typo that I was looking at just before the meeting. Line 22, it's only on the memo. The
What's the packet page, please?
packet page 7. It's line 22 and the total is 995 is correct. No, it's the next one that I have a typo on, sorry.
Next resolution? Okay. Any discussion, any questions? Ready to vote? Go the other way. Dan?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
I vote yes. That's unanimous. Okay, let's go to resolution B under your department, authorization to execute a supplemental funding agreement with New York State Department of Transportation, Etna Lane Bridge over Fall Creek in the town of Dryden. Someone want to move that one?
No, move it.
Dave moves it, Glenn seconds it. Discussion about this one, comment?
Yeah. This one does have a typo. Sorry, I mixed them up in my pile. It's packet page 9, line 21. The total, it starts right, the total of 1,655,000 should be 666.
1,666,000.
Yeah. 665,000.
5.
Yeah. If you add the 1,500,000 to the for construction and the 165,000 for construction and engineering services, those two pieces total 1,665,000, and the line there says 1,655. It had to be corrected. Small one. It is correct on the resolution.
Any questions or comments on this one, folks? I would only want to say, not particularly about this resolution, but it's remarkable how similar this bridge is to the Freeze Road Bridge in its situation. Both of them have difficult access onto Route 13, but for many, many years, Etna Lane Bridge has been a 2-lane bridge, and it hasn't disrupted that community. We heard a lot of negative comments about a 2-lane bridge at Freeze Road. The town has gone forward requesting a single-lane bridge at Freeze Road, which I'm personally sorry to see, but it was their grant, so I guess they get to do that. I do know that according to the reports at town board on Freeze Road, but that the state would require traffic signals at both ends of Freeze Road. Anyway,
yeah,
just to say why I think another reason I think that Etna Lane is a perfectly good bridge and has the same kind of issues that Freeze Road does, but satisfies them.
Another one to look at to get a good size of scale is to look at Red Mill Bridge. I think it's that's what the town highway superintendent, Rick Young, talks to, is the similarity and how nice Red Mill Bridge looks. It's a 2-lane bridge on a town road, and that also abuts up to a state road quickly, similar to Freeze Road. And that's a new modern bridge in place that looks would have the same look as a Freeze Road bridge had they gone with that modern design. One update I do have, so that everyone's aware, on Freeze Road Bridge, the state continues to inspect that bridge. They do continue to look at certain elements that are causing concern. We are continuing to lower the posted weight limit. At this time, very shortly, I'm not sure exactly where in the steps, but we're going to be lowering it to either 5 ton, 5 or 3 ton is as low as you can post a bridge for before closing it. What I'm getting at is talking with the consultant engineer that's working with the town of Dryden, that's Barton and LaJudas. We're also in touch with them quite often on this bridge, and they're looking at a possibility and where their schedule looks at a 2022 construction season for that bridge. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be going to construction even in 21. It's very likely, based on what we're seeing, is a degradation and the work that the state DOT is doing to inspect the bridge and monitor it, and us continuing to lower that limit. It may likely be closed before construction starts. And I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that that is a possibility. And we are also sharing that with other representatives from the town of Dryden and everyone else, so they're aware. I just wanted to let everyone know that.
Dave?
Yeah, hey, Jeff, are you notifying the school district of that change?
They will get notification of it. They usually know as soon as we put the sign up, but they're already limited on crossing that bridge. Right now it's a 12 ton. I think most of them run 15 or more, 15 or 18 ton as a school bus. So as it goes down, I believe they may still use it at 12 ton, but if it goes any lower, they won't be traveling over that, I don't believe.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, but I think school bus is 10,000 pounds by itself.
Yeah, they might run over it empty.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Jeff, sorry to be talking about Freeze Road on this one, but I think it's important. What is the state talking about now as continue a degradation? Is it the scour, or is it the members? What is it?
It's the bridge. It's the span. It's section loss in the girders, and that
Okay.
is a measurement. It's a micrometer, and they continue to, it just keeps getting. We've done mitigating things. We've blocked it, but it's the truss construction. It's not unusual for it to be. In some ways, it seems a little bit overly cautious. The bridge has been there. It doesn't seem to be changing, but they're looking at like really micrometers, and it's very difficult from an engineering practice and, putting their stamp on it being safe is really the way that it develops into a lower posting. But it has to do with corrosion and section loss. A bridge of that construction, you could have an immediate closure if they were to find like one cracking member. And then if one member is cracking, they aren't going to worry about searching all the other cracks. They're just going to close it. That's what happened on Groton City Road. They have that type of bridge has that possibility.
Thank you for that. Back to the Etna Lane Bridge. Are we ready to vote on that resolution? And
Sure.
let's vote.
Mike?
And
Mike, she's no longer in the meeting.
we lost
She just
her.
dropped. Yeah, she just dropped out. So
Okay. Well,
I'll see if she
yes.
comes back in.
all right. Dave,
Yes.
Oh,
Dan,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Ann's back in.
yes.
And we're voting on resolution on Etna Lane Bridge. Are you a yes or no?
Yes, I'm a yes. Thanks for your
Okay.
patience. I'm out of town and the internet's spotty.
Well, we're glad you could be with us. And I voted yes, so it's unanimous. We've got an information item, capital payment summary report. Any comments on that, Jeff?
If you look down through it, it has really the activity that we've been going and talking about with these resolutions, the Central Chapel Road and the Etna Road, also the Ludlowville payments to the contractor and the engineer for construction support services.
Questions? Okay, anything else this morning, Jeff?
No?
I'd like to say a thing or two before Jeff leaves.
Absolutely, Dan. You got the floor.
Thank you. So first of all, I am home Zooming with insufficient bandwidth, so I've already blinked out a couple of times. I just want to let you know that if I disappear, I'll get back as quickly as I can. And that's why I have my audio off, although I do want to give you a quick flash here.
Oh, we have two Santas.
We do. So you inspired me, Jeff.
All right.
So two things. I was at a Caroline Town Board meeting and they were discussing some meeting that had happened among a number of the town highway superintendents, preparing a plan or an informal plan to back each other up if coronavirus infected their crew and they were unavailable to work. And Jeff, I heard your name mentioned there, and I wonder if you had, like, if you convened that meeting or if you had anything more you wanted to say about that.
Sure, I can talk about that. Yes, I did. I reached out to the highway superintendents. The idea is exactly what you discussed, in that we want to know and we want to be able to communicate and we want to be able to show our support for each other, which we all did in the event that a couple people maybe come in, test positive. We experienced, a group of people getting quarantined for some of these smaller town, and possibly even for us, that would mean us, really getting stretched thin if a storm were to happen at a timely manner, and it, kind of all perfect storm happened. The idea was to reach out, talk about that, really come together and say, let's try and communicate early and often, was really the theme that I tried to talk about and drive home, and everyone received it very well. It'd be great to know if there's a shop that's down a couple people and they're going to be getting stretched thin in advance of the storm, we'd be able to maybe move some resources around and schedule some personnel from the county support, but also if it happens to us, we have other towns. The city's also involved. They're interested in continuing conversations with this kind of a mutual aid type idea. We are scheduling another conference call, trying to do them monthly early in January as our next one. So thanks for bringing that up, Dan. I think it was a good meeting. We probably had about half the towns. It's a conference call. It gives them the ability to kind of be anywhere. It's a little bit easier for some of the towns to do it, to come online. I think attendance will be better as we go forward with it. I follow it up with kind of a meeting minutes, what was discussed, and on the downside of that, of our first meeting, it also includes, I should say, the villages. And some of the villages maybe didn't have some of the information that I've been sharing with some of the towns. So I had a request from the village of Cayuga Heights for a couple of directives that the county were using, and that, coming from administration, just another channel to share information. And it's a good conversation, and everyone knows that each of us are there to help and share resources as needed.
Well, thank you, Jeff. It sounded good what I had heard, and I'm glad to hear that you were, I guess, centrally organizing that. It's the kind of stuff that I really appreciate, the kind of quiet behind the scenes stuff that really matters. It's nice intermunicipal cooperation. It's good communication. So just wanted to make sure other people were aware of it. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Dan.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention is also I got contacted by an internet service provider, I guess is their term, or I'm not sure what they are, about an issue in Danby and getting their poles up along one of the roads in Danby. And Jeff and your engineer, whose name I forget right now.
John.
Yes, thank you. And this internet service provider I met out on South Danby Road, and walked the site and looked at where each pole was, because there was some issues about where the poles could be placed. And Jeff was pretty firm about safety issues and maintenance issues have to be maintained, but he also showed a lot of flexibility about wanting to make this project happen, and it happened. The poles are up, and so I just wanted again call you out for doing some nice, quiet, behind the scenes work that really matters. So thank you.
Really appreciate that, Dan. Thank you.
Does anybody out that way, Dan, want broadband, do you think?
Well, the funny thing about it was I believe the 5 poles had to go up.
Yeah.
And that's going to serve 3 houses.
Yeah.
But that's why those 3 houses had never been served, because it didn't, it wasn't economical for a company to put poles up and lines up without a New York State grant or a federal grant. I'm not sure which one it was.
Dan, your comment certainly underscores that the real need for better broadband service in our the southern part of our county, particularly, and we keep hearing about more things happening, but so far it's not too much on the ground. I'm glad to hear that that there's something actually happening in part of your district that is improving broadband.
Me too.
Anything else for Jeff this morning? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item I put on the agenda is out of my district. I just wanted to make you aware of it. We might ask if this committee would pass a resolution in support if you're so inclined later on. Here's what's going on. If any of you is familiar with Dryden Lake, Dryden Lake is a natural lake that it's glacial, that was formed, eons ago. But since at least 1801, we've been able to determine there's always been a dam on the outlet that ran a mill, initially sawmills, and I think possibly a grain mill later. The dams were replaced and washed out. I think the last time it washed out was in 1935. In 1962, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation purchased Dryden Lake from private property owners who had used it for not only operating a mill in the past, but there had been a major ice house on the railroad that runs along the lake itself, and they would cut ice in the winter, employ people, and the ice would be stored and sent down to New York City on the trains. New York State DEC has maintained the lake for fishing, for small boat usage like rowboats, kayaks, that kind of thing. And it's also a wildlife area because it's quite swampy in one area. It's not very deep, and it does have trouble in the summer with milfoil and other kinds of seaweed that were actually studied by some professors at Cornell University a few years ago. They were trying to come up with an insect that would attack the milfoil. I think the early 1980s, the DEC replaced the dam, which is really what's called a weir, which is simply it's to a certain level and the water runs over the top of it. That weir is now deteriorating. It's made of wood. And the town brought to the attention of the DEC that it seemed to be deteriorating, and DEC had the dam people inspect it and agreed. And now they've gone to the town of Dryden and said, well, we don't really like dams, so we might want to take it out as opposed to rebuilding it. What's your opinion? And what's circulating in Dryden, of course, from the town and the village and historical society and other people is that they do not want this dam removed. They want it rebuilt. we're not talking about a multi-million-dollar project. It's a fairly small, fairly low dam. But I'm expecting that the town of Dryden will ask DEC to replace this dam. I wanted to mention that the town has developed a park right around the dam over the last 20 years. And the Dryden Lake Jim Shug Trail that goes from the village out to the lake is heavily used by people. The wildlife in the area, all kinds of herons and ducks and geese, and even now and then we see a bald eagle in that area. So the town will probably pass a resolution requesting the DEC to replace the dam. The village of Dryden will probably do the same, and I would like to ask the county to endorse that request. My purpose in talking about it today is simply to introduce this so folks have it in the back of their mind what's coming forward. Fairly soon, I would think we would be asked to do that if we're so inclined. So that's what I put that on the agenda for. Glad to have any comments or answer any questions that I can. Glenn.
Will the resolution come next month or when?
Well, I hope to have one this month, but we've been so awful busy. I haven't been able to put one together. I'm working with Jason Leifer, and we'll try to have a resolution. I would like to have it next month, yes, but I want the town to go first.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Yeah,
Thank
I'd like
you.
to just briefly mention that I had been to Dryden Lake maybe 25 years ago, and then again just like maybe 2 months ago. It was one of those mild-ish autumn days, and went for a walk completely around the lake, the Jim Shug Trail, and then up on, I think it's Lake Road or something like that. Anyway, there were a lot of people out enjoying the area, and so I'm happy to support anything that will keep the infrastructure in place there.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you for that, Dan. Okay. For transportation this morning, I would just report that there was a meeting of the joint meeting of the ITCTC Planning and Policy Committees yesterday. Just a couple of things I would mention that they talked about the Ludlowville Bridge being about to be opened at that point, which we just heard Jeff talk about. The DOT, New York State DOT people talked about plans next year to work on the Route 13 bridge over 6 Mile Creek in the city. And that is, a major bridge that has lanes in both directions. And they did say they're going to have to reduce the width during work on it. I don't know if they're going to reconstruct the whole thing or not, and they may have to close the whole bridge for a couple of days, a couple of times. I don't know, Jeff, if you've heard more about that, but that's going to be a real bottleneck there if they have to throttle that down. They also said that there had been some new state money allocated for Route 34 and 34B. And they got money, there's money coming to the DOT for 3 projects, 19 miles of mill and true and level, I guess, and repavement, which would be 8 miles of Route 34B in Lansing, 1.8 miles of Route 34 in the village of Lansing, and 9 miles of Route 34 in, I guess, the town of Dryden, Lansing, and Ithaca. So it's no cost to us. It's a state project, but I thought folks would like to hear about that. That's all I had from that meeting.
Was there a rough timeline on that Route 13 bridge?
I think it's next year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we move on? Shall we take the minutes? November 19th?
Yeah, I'll move them.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ann. Discussion about the minutes. Okay, let's vote. Ann,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes,
Glenn,
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
I vote yes. We have an advisory board appointment. Does anyone need an executive session about that?
I don't need an executive session, but I did notice that her form needs to be updated. There's just some out-of-date information on there. I imagine it just gets Xeroxed every time, but she should update it a little bit. That's all. No big deal.
Maybe Michelle or Kathy can give her a little suggestion on that. Want to move that appointment? Jan,
Sure.
is there a second?
yeah, I'll second.
All right, Dave seconded it. Let's vote. Dan,
Yes.
Glenn,
yes,
Dave,
Yes,
Ann,
Yes.
and I vote yes. I think we have some, did we cover the budget adjustment for recycling and materials management? Or was that a second one? Oh, we had the transfer. All right, any questions on the budget adjustment?
nope.
Well, what else do we have this morning? Except snow. Dan? Your light just came in.
I was just gonna ask, how, you said there was like about a foot of snow or more there?
At my house, I think we've got at least a foot, maybe a little more than that.
Okay, good to know. I'll put a call into someone to plow my driveway before I get back then.
I'm glad to hear that Danby and Caroline do have the most, as usual, we're proud of that. I'm going to say at least 1.5 feet in my house, at least.
Well, the weather radio was saying that northern Pennsylvania was going to get at least 2 feet. So I'm glad we're not them right now.
Yeah, my wife heard from a friend of hers in Barton, who's stranded down in Barton, and they got some ridiculous amount, like 40 inches or something like that down there.
Wow.
I heard Binghamton got 40 inches.
Autumn, my secretary, she didn't come in today. I told her to bring her laptop home. She got about 3 feet. I think she's in the Candor area.
Yeah.
Owego area.
Jeff, maybe we'll need
of her great parent. She has a big Great Pyrenees dog. She has 2 of them, and sent a picture of the dog in the snow. And it's a big dog, and it's fully encapsulated in the snow. That's how much snow she has.
Jeff, maybe you'll have to get the snow blowers out this winter.
I got to come over and help Ann with her driveway, so I'll be over shortly, Ann.
Look, what else can you ask for having neighbors like that? Are we ready to adjourn? I'd like to thank everyone for a good year. Of course, we'll be meeting again next month until committees are reorganized, however they will be. And I want to wish everybody a great holiday and thank Kathy and all her staff that have helped us through the year, and all of our department heads, our administration here. They've been just terrific, and couldn't ask for better people to work with.
I'll
get a
second that motion.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Thank you. Well said, Mike. And just to Jason, my driveway is about 300 feet long, so bring your big shovel.
I'm sure I'm gonna have to help Jim Dennis first, because he's my neighbor, and he's not out there shoveling. So once I'm done with him, I'll come on over.
Okay, we'll talk about your priorities later.
All right, motion to adjourn, I guess. Everybody in favor of adjourning?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
Enjoy the snow, folks.
Hey, the
Bye,
elf is
Santa.
going back on the shelf
Bye,
there.
Santa.
Catch you later.
Bye.